One of the services that I offer that you often aren't seeing the results of to know that you're seeing it is my Health at Every Size consulting and writing. And often my customers, my clients are people who are health at every size healthcare providers, or they're therapists, they're doctors, they're chiropractors, they're fitness professionals, they're personal trainers, they're psychologists, they're dance instructors, they're yoga teachers, and they want to do well by their fat customers and clients, whether they are fat themselves or not. And often my clients are people who are not fat themselves because they don't have the lived experience of knowing what it's like to interact with businesses like theirs in a fat body. So that might mean they want to, be part of body liberation through their businesses, but they don't know what they don't know. And so they hire someone like me to come in and advise, because I will sit down and I'll tell you, not only, as a fat person looking at your website, I don't see anybody like me. I don't know whether I'm going to be welcome. You don't, maybe you do or don't talk about health at every size or body liberation or fat friendliness on your website. But it's not just that, it's also people's marketing and their physical spaces that we talk about. For example, right now I'm working with someone who is running a personal tailoring business. And we talked about making sure that they have tape measures that are big enough to go around all their clients' bodies for measuring. And sometimes these are things that people have thought of and they need some validation on, or some to work through some details with me. And sometimes it's just somebody who's come into me and who's like, here's my presence, tell me if I need to improve, and if so, where and how. And sometimes it's just somebody who's starting to plan their business and wants to make sure that they're being inclusive of body size, both in their marketing and in their physical space too. Because if you're in a small body and you're running a storefront, you might not realize where that your displays are too close together, and that somebody who is maybe in a fat body and wearing a purse or a backpack, or just in a fat body, or in a wheelchair, or using a mobility device, might not be able to get into your store and move around. So that's where I come in, is to help people figure out where those spots are where they can improve, but also just to help them move forward with what they're doing in their business. My corporate background, before I started doing body liberation photos, I worked in a combination of defense contracting here in the US, and marketing, and then software and sort of accounting software adjacent. And I was doing a lot of corporate marketing, blogging, social media content creation, and then also technical editing and doing things like writing white papers. So I've spent a lot of time in the business world, but from that marketing, social media perspective. And, so I'm really familiar with the struggles of someone who is trying to be inclusive and trying to be better. And seeing the spots, like having a hard time finding stock photos that are inclusive, and having a hard time writing about things in ways that will attract clients, and not turn off people who are not ready for body liberation talk, while also, staying true to their own values. So quite often I work with, say, therapists who need to attract people in their state, or the state where they're licensed, but they also, and they can't afford, because they have, they need to feed themselves and pay their mortgage or their rent, to be able to say, I am fat positive, I am invested in health at every size, but also not scare off the people who aren't ready for that, and still be able to sort of serve who they want and need to serve, while also making ends meet. And so I help people work through the logistics of that, and honestly finding some of those compromise points. How can I compromise without compromising my values and my reputation and my own lived experience and where I want to, where I want to go. So that is how my lived experience as a fat person and my own background helps other business owners is through that. And that might look like consulting. It might look like helping fill in the content on your website and your social media. It might look like helping you build your business and find that framework that works for you. And you can find more information on my rates and all my services at bodyliberationphotos.com under more at the top of the page.